Caitlin Carter, and you're watching Studio Sessions with Music Times. Today's guest is Atlanta-based singer-songwriter Eliot Bronson, who just released his self-titled third studio album. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
We're really happy to have you. So for those who aren't as familiar with you and your history in music, can you give us a little bit of background, how you got into music, maybe your upbringing and how that's influenced it as well?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I grew up, my grandparents were Pentecostal ministers, and my family lived in a church, and my dad lived in that church, and then we went to that church, so the music was kind of always around us. We sang in church. And then my folks were also really into 60s folk and blues and stuff like that. They had this huge vinyl collection. So ever since I was a kid, I was singing, gospel and folk, country and blues, and so it was just something that was part of my life from a very young age.
And so then when did you decide to take it up professionally?
Is that what I'm doing?
Or as a career?
I think I started writing songs as a teenager, and it took a long time to figure out, how to make the kind of music that I really wanted to make. So I did different things. I was in a punk rock band, I was in a pop band, and in the last 3 years, I finally kind of settled in and honed in on this Americana songwriter thing that I'm doing, which really feels like home.
And so you were in a band prior to going, I guess, solo with the Brilliant Inventions.
That's right.
So, I guess, can you tell me a little bit about the history of that?
Sure. Yeah. It was a quirky acoustic pop duo that a friend of mine and I started down in Atlanta, and it was fun. We played around a lot. We had some good times, but it ended, and I think it was a good challenge for me to figure out, after that ended, what do I really want to do now, and that's how I got to where I am.
And so this album is self-titled, so I was going to ask why. I know you had 2 albums before this, obviously.
Yeah.
So why now with putting your name on it?
I didn't start out with that idea, but after the record was done and was almost done, and we were listening to the tracks and the mixes, I really just felt like, wow, this is not just the record that I'm happy to have made, but it's kind of the record that I've been wanting to make, maybe forever, as long as I've written songs. And it just felt like a quintessential kind of statement. And I had never done a self-titled record. It just occurred to me, this would be a perfect time.
Yeah, this is me. This is an introduction in a way to the sound you want.
Yeah, I'm a late bloomer. So.
And so, can you tell me a little bit about the writing process behind this album? And,
sure.
Kind of what was inspiring you, the themes that you were trying to hone in on.
I write. I don't know if a lot of people write this way, but I don't think many people do. I write just with a guitar in my hand. I just kind of sing out loud, and I don't write anything down. So everything I do is.
Do you record it? I guess you can.
Sometimes, but I actually, when I'm writing, I don't. I'll record it when I'm when I get to a point where I'm stopping.
You're I want to remember.
I've been working for a half hour, and I have half a song. Then I'll record that half a song. But in general, as I'm doing the writing, I don't do any. This pen and paper, computer, all that gets in the way. I kind of get into a space where I'm just singing it over and over again.
It's more by ear. What sounds good to you?
Very much by ear, and I'm a freestyle folk singer, and because of that process and the way I do it, I don't set out with a lot of goals in mind of where I want to right now. Things just sort of occur.
Yeah.
And
so whatever pops into your head at the moment, you're like, all right, this sounds good. I'll roll with
Yeah. So I often don't know what my think about the theme of an album or what I'm going for. I often don't know what that is until later.
There's not as much of a concept maybe in the beginning.
Right, but then I'll go back, months later, and I'll listen to these songs, or I'll just think about it, and it'll be clear to me that there definitely was something I was working through or on that I wasn't consciously working on.
Nice. And so your producer Dave Cobb, he produced Sturgill Simpson's Simpsons album. I can't say that word right now. And
right.
Well, I just got nominated for a Grammy. So what was it like working with him and I guess putting together your album? How did that kind of come about as well?
Working with Dave Cobb was amazing. He's such a talented artist, producer, great guy. He's fun to hang out with, and he has a very Zen master light touch where he gets everything where he wants it, and you don't even really realize he's doing it. But we also share a vision which is we both really love old records. We both love the sound of records made in the 50s and 60s.
I know
early
you
70s.
recorded analog,
We
I guess.
did, yeah.
So.
We recorded analog because we really, we really wanted to make a record that sounded. Our goal was, can we make something timeless? Can we make something that sounds like it was made 40 years ago and still be relevant?
Yeah.
Like some of those old records are.
Yeah,
And you still
most
put
of them are.
Right.
Yeah.
Put on like something Blonde on Blonde or something, and it's like it holds up against anything because of the
Well, it's not
quality.
necessarily the trendy, like whatever is, it's like those it's roots for a reason, I guess, because that is like kind of a foundation of songwriting.
Right.
And so how does this album, I guess, differ from your past releases?
Well, I just think that this is sort of like the culmination of the work I've done. Like everything else was sort of like leading up to this. I'm proud of the stuff I did in the past. My last 2 solo records, there's songs in there that I'll still play at most shows. But as a whole, I feel like this is a new level and it's a new beginning. And I've had a lot of working with Dave, working with this level of musicians. Like it's kind of like entering a phase.
So did you self-produce before, or did you just work with?
No, I did have a producer, a friend and producer down in Atlanta named Will Robertson. Produced both Milwaukee and Blackbird, which were my 2 previous.
And you recorded this one in Atlanta as well?
No, this one I recorded in Nashville.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought it was Nashville.
Yeah.
And it has that kind of Nashville-y, ness to it, I guess. And so a lot of songwriters write, at least especially in Nashville at least,
Right.
like, they have their own stuff, but they write for other people. Have you ever kind of gone down that path, writing for other artists?
I haven't yet, mostly just because the way I write and what inspires me to write, I'm consciously not trying to write commercial.
Or something generic that could be to anyone?
Well, I respect all that, and there's some great writers doing it, but I feel like it's a sort of a different mindset when you're thinking, I'm going to make something to sell, versus I'm going to make something that really fulfills me personally.
Yeah.
And there may be a place where both those 2 things meet. I just haven't found it for myself.
Yeah. So what do you have going on next? I mean, are you starting? I'm assuming that you probably are constantly writing, but
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to a new album, a tour, like what's going on, or what's upcoming, I guess, that your fans can look forward to?
So I'm personally looking forward to having a few weeks off. I've been on the road since the beginning of November. So that'll be nice. And then after that, we are talking about next year and maybe another record. Still in the very early phases of that idea. And I've got, in January actually, I'm doing 38 Songwriter Festival in Florida, which would be nice to be in Florida in January.
Yes, definitely.
Music City Roots in Nashville I'll be doing. So I've got some things coming up, but the bigger plans are going to have to be secret for now.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much for coming in, and we'll be hearing. What will you be playing for us today?
Am I doing 2 songs for you?
Yeah.
I think I'll do Coming For You, Georgia Blues, and just forget the other one.
All right. Well, it'll be a surprise. So, Music Times viewers, don't forget to check out Eliot's new self-titled album.